Hi friends, welcome. Here we discuss real stories told by real people. Today we have a story about a man who said too much at dinner, and a no-joke conflict broke out. Let's see what happens. Anna was standing at the window, looking out at the garden. Her father, Michael, was preparing for his birthday. He turned 55 years old, and this time the family decided to arrange a holiday with their loved ones. The sounds of preparation could be heard in the living room. The rustle of gift paper, the aromas of home cooking and muffled conversations. Anna, a slender girl with long brown hair and brown eyes, returned home from college for the weekend. Her father, Michael, a tall man with gray hair and kind eyes, was glad to see her. "Anna, you look wonderful," he said, hugging her. "Thanks, Dad. I'm glad to see you too," Anna replied, smiling. At that moment, Anna's mother, Linda, came in. She was an elegant, middle-aged woman with short blonde hair and green eyes. Linda hugged her daughter and added, "We've missed you so much." "Me too, Mom. How are you doing here?" Anna asked. "Everything is fine. We are preparing for the arrival of guests," Linda replied. Anna knew that one of the guests would be her Uncle John, her father's younger brother. John, a 37-year-old man with dark hair and piercing blue eyes, had not been in their house for a long time. He was famous for his messy personal life, and his visits were always accompanied by scandals. After a while, the doorbell rang. Linda went to open the door, and John appeared in the hallway. He looked tired, but still retained his charm. "Greetings to all," John said, walking into the house with a big smile. "John, it's good to see you," Michael said, walking up to his brother and hugging him tightly. "Uncle John, it's been a long time," Anna said, coming closer. "Anna, you've become even more beautiful," John replied with a smile. The rest of the family and close friends began to gather in the living room. Soon, conversations and laughter filled the space. John kept a low profile, trying not to draw too much attention to himself. But Anna noticed that he was furtively looking at his watch. "How are you, John?" Anna asked, approaching her uncle. "It's okay, I'm just a little tired," he replied, avoiding her gaze. Anna remembered how, as a child, he often brought different girls to family events. It seemed funny at the time, but over the years she began to realize that it wasn't normal. She decided not to bring it up yet. As the evening went on, the atmosphere grew warmer and warmer. Linda brought out the cake, and everyone gathered around Michael to congratulate him. John stood to the side, watching the proceedings with a slight smile. "Happy birthday, Dad," Anna said, hugging her father. "Thank you, dear. I'm happy you're all here," Michael replied, looking around the room. Anna felt that this evening could be a turning point in their family life. But for now she was enjoying the moment, being among her family and friends. After Michael's birthday party, Anna went to her room to get some rest. She sat down by the window and began to remember the past. Her thoughts went back to the time when Uncle John invited her to the cinema. It happened a few years ago, when Anna was 17. She remembered how John, always so charming and cheerful, had unexpectedly called her and invited her to spend the evening together. "Hi Anna, do you want to go to the cinema tonight?" he asked on the phone. "Of course, Uncle John, it will be great," she replied, surprised at his sudden invitation. Anna had prepared herself thoroughly that evening. She put on her favorite dress and did light makeup. When John came to pick her up, he looked as immaculate as ever, dark hair neatly styled, blue eyes sparkling with energy. They arrived at the cinema, and Anna was happy to wait for the start of the session. But her joy soon turned to surprise. John wasn't alone. He had a young woman with him, whom he introduced as Macy. She was a blonde with blue eyes, dressed in a stylish dress. "Hi, Anna, this is Macy," John said with a smile. We thought it would be fun to have a threesome tonight. Anna felt awkward. She didn't know how to react. All evening she tried to hide her embarrassment and studiously avoided unnecessary questions. When the movie ended, John took her aside. "Anna, I'm asking you, don't tell anyone about tonight, okay?" he said softly, looking into her eyes. "Why?" Anna asked, feeling her heart racing. "Just don't, okay? It's our little secret," John replied, avoiding her gaze. Anna nodded, though she didn't fully understand what was going on. She felt betrayed, but decided not to tell anyone about it. Until her father asked about that evening. A few days later, at dinner, Michael noticed that Anna was thoughtful. "Anna, is everything okay? You look a little distracted," he said, looking at his daughter. "Yes, Dad, I'm fine," she replied, trying to smile. But Michael saw that something was wrong. "Are you sure? Why don't you tell me what's bothering you?" "What is it?" he asked urgently. Anna sighed and decided to share. "Dad, Uncle John took me to the movies, but he wasn't alone. He had a girl named Macy with him. He asked me not to tell anyone about this," she said quietly. Michael frowned. "Did he really say that?" "What is it?" he asked, his voice full of disappointment. "Yes," Anna replied, lowering her eyes. Michael shook his head. "I'm disappointed, but please don't worry. It's not your fault," he said, hugging his daughter. Anna felt relieved that she had shared her secret, but her thoughts were still trapped in those memories. From time to time, she wondered if she had done the right thing by telling her father, but tried not to think about it too much. The silence of her room was broken only by the sound of the wind outside the window, and she continued to think about that day, about Uncle John, and how much her life had changed since then. There was a festive atmosphere in Michael's house. Everyone was preparing for a family dinner. Linda was setting plates on the table. Michael was slicing bread, and Anna was helping her mother with salads. This year, Anna brought her boyfriend, Alex. Alex was tall, with short blonde hair and brown eyes. He was a little nervous, meeting all of Anna's relatives for the first time. "You look great," Anna whispered, smiling at Alex. "Thanks, you too," Alex replied, trying to relax. Uncle John came with his wife, Julia. Julia was a slender woman with brown hair and green eyes. She looked happy, holding her husband's hand. John was also in a good mood, trying to appear good-natured and attentive. Everyone sat down at the table and dinner began. Conversations and laughter filled the room. Suddenly, John, seemingly jokingly, began to talk about Anna's past. "Alex, do you know that your girlfriend used to date girls?" John said, grinning. Anna froze. All eyes turned to her and Alex. She felt her cheeks begin to burn with embarrassment. Alex raised his eyebrows in surprise, not knowing what to say. "Uncle John, this is not something worth discussing at the table," Anna said, trying to remain calm. "Oh, come on," John continued. "I'm just kidding. But Alex, you should offer her a threesome before she does it behind your back." Everyone froze. Linda, usually reserved, looked at John with displeasure. Anna could feel the rage rising in her. She decided that she could no longer remain silent. "Uncle John," she began, her voice trembling. But she tried to be firm. "How is Macy?" Julia, who was sitting next to John, frowned and looked at her husband. "Who is Macy? What is it?" she asked, her voice icy. John tried to avoid his wife's gaze. "No one. I do not know any Macy," he said quickly, but there was nervousness in his voice. Anna couldn't stop. "Uncle John, we went to the movies with Macy last year. She looked really cute," she said sarcastically. Julia abruptly stood up from the table, her face pale with anger. "We're leaving," she said firmly, and quickly left the room. John glared at Anna and hurried after his wife. There was silence in the room. No one knew what to say. After John and Julia left, Michael sighed and looked at his daughter. "Anna, you shouldn't have done that," he said softly, but reproachfully. "Dad, he's overstepped his bounds," she replied, feeling tears in her eyes. Alex took her hand and squeezed it in support. Later that night, Anna received a message from John. He accused her of ruining his marriage and demanded that she no longer interfere in his life. "It was your mistake, John," Anna said softly, closing the phone. She knew that there would be difficult days ahead, but at this moment she felt the support of her loved ones. There was silence in the room, only occasionally broken by the sounds of the street outside the window. Anna stared at the moon, thinking about how much their family life would change after this dinner. The next day after dinner, Anna woke up to the sound of notifications on her phone. She saw several messages and missed calls. Her father, Michael, and mother, Linda, were already sitting in the kitchen talking. "Good morning, Anna," Michael said as she entered the room. "Good morning," Anna replied, feeling the tension in the air. Linda looked at her daughter with concern. "We have received several calls from relatives. Everyone is discussing what happened yesterday," Linda said, pouring Anna a cup of tea. Anna nodded and took the cup, feeling heavy at heart. "I knew it would cause problems, but he went overboard," she said quietly. Michael sighed. "Anna, I understand that you wanted to protect yourself, but your actions had serious consequences. John called me this morning. He's desperate," he said. Anna frowned. "It's his own fault. He never thought about the consequences of his actions," she replied firmly. Linda put her hand on her daughter's shoulder. "We're not blaming you, honey. It's just that now we need to deal with the situation." Julia called and cried. "She doesn't know what to do," she said. Anna sighed. She felt guilty, but she knew she had done the right thing. "Maybe I should talk to Julia, explain everything," she suggested. "That would be the right thing to do," Michael said, nodding. Later that day, Anna received a message from Julia. She invited her to talk. Anna felt agitated, but she understood that it was necessary. They agreed to meet at a small cafe in the city center. When Anna entered the cafe, she saw Julia sitting by the window. Julia looked tired and upset. Her eyes were red from crying. Anna went over to her and sat down opposite her. "Hi, Julia," she began, trying to smile. Anna," Julia replied, her voice low and trembling. Anna sighed and began to speak. "Julia, I'm sorry about last night. I didn't mean to hurt you," she said sincerely. Julia nodded, her eyes filling with tears again. "I understand, Anna. I just didn't expect this. John has always seemed loyal and honest to me," she said softly. Anna took her hand. "John asked me to keep quiet, but I couldn't take his humiliation anymore. I hope you find the strength to deal with it," she said. Julia took a deep breath and looked at Anna. "Thank you for your honesty, Anna. It was difficult, but now I know the truth," she said sadly. They sat for a while longer, talking about their feelings and experiences. Anna felt relieved that she was finally able to explain everything to Julia. When Anna returned home, Alex met her. He hugged her and asked, "How did it go?" "Better than I expected. I think Julia knows the truth now," she replied, snuggling up to him. "I'm proud of you, Anna," Alex said, kissing her gently on the forehead. Anna smiled. She knew that there were still many difficulties ahead, but she felt support and love nearby. It gave her the strength to move on. It's been a few weeks since that ill-fated dinner. Anna felt that the tension in the family was gradually easing. Her father, Michael, started talking to her more often, expressing understanding and support. One evening, Anna was sitting in the living room reading a book when Michael approached her. He looked tired, but there was something new in his eyes, a shadow of pride and understanding. "Anna," Can I talk to you? What is it? He asked, sitting down next to me. Of course, Dad. What happened? Anna replied, putting down the book. I wanted to say that after everything that happened, I realized how important it is to tell the truth. You did a brave thing, and I'm proud of you, Michael said, smiling softly. Anna felt the warmth of his words. Thanks, Dad. It wasn't easy, but I couldn't keep quiet anymore, she replied. Michael nodded and took her hand. We all learn from our mistakes. I am glad that I have such a strong daughter, he added. Anna hugged him, feeling the tension go away. The next day, Anna received an unexpected message from Uncle John. He asked to meet with her. Anna thought for a long time, but decided to go. They agreed to meet in a small park near her house. When Anna arrived at the meeting place, she saw John sitting on a bench. He looked depressed, his dark hair was disheveled, and his blue eyes looked tired. Anna, he said softly as she came closer. Uncle John, she replied, sitting down next to him. They sat in silence for several minutes before John spoke. I want to apologize to you. I realized that I was behaving incorrectly and dishonestly. My words and actions hurt not only you, but also Julia, he said, avoiding her gaze. Anna sighed, feeling a mixture of anger and sympathy. I couldn't take your humiliation anymore, John. It was wrong, and you knew it, she said firmly. John nodded. Yes, I knew. I acted meanly, and now I'm paying the price. Julia has filed for divorce, and I understand her. But I needed to tell you this in person, he said, finally looking into her eyes. Anna saw genuine remorse in his eyes. She sighed and decided that she would forgive him. I forgive you, Uncle John. I hope you find a way to correct your mistakes, she replied softly. They sat for a while longer, talking about the past and how each of them would move on. When Anna returned home, Alex met her. He smiled at her calm face. How did it go? What is it? He asked, hugging her. Better than I thought. We talked and understood each other. Anna replied, feeling relieved. That's good. You're strong, Anna. I will always be there for you, Alex said, kissing her gently. Anna smiled, feeling how the love and support of her loved ones helped her cope with any difficulties. There were still issues in their family that needed to be resolved, but now she knew that they could overcome everything together. So we have come to the end of this story. Please write your opinion in the comments. We will be interested to know it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss new, even more exciting stories. We wish you good luck.